Alright, let's get some decals on this Kyle Busch number 54 Supra, M&M Supra. Yeah, one of the interesting things with this is, I've cut these out, but they're not sized properly. That's just way too big, right? So I got to cut off a little bit on the left, a little bit on the right if I want that name to be centered. Pretty good. Maybe a little bit too much I cut off on the right side, but it'll be okay. Alright, and then this Xfinity. Not the sharpest decal, but I think I just need to angle a little bit and I'll be okay. So just a little bit on each side with the right angle. Not much. Yeah, that's better. Now, almost always on the backs of these cars, I separate out the bottom from the top because inevitably the spacing is too big. And actually, this is just a little too long on each side. So I'm going to trim a little bit off of those tail lights and remove that 54 because I don't want that hanging over the side. I can leave the heroes in place there. Now, if there was like a recessed area on the back of that car, then I might want to remove that hero's place or that hero's decal separately so I could lay it in there perfectly. If there's a recessed area, because some of these cars have like a little recessed spot on the back of the rear bumper area. Yeah, and I'm cutting off this little extra piece, right? Because this is actually a clear decal if I leave it there, and I don't want it there, right? It's just not needed. Somebody was asking a question about that. Oh yeah, I want to trim just a little bit off of these sides here. Just a little. So I don't really want any hangover. Sometimes I would actually cut off the left side from the right side, but it's all connected with the heroes and I just leave it together there. Alright, let's see about this thing, because this thing is usually too big too. Yep. But here, the decal actually can wrap around, and that's okay because there's a little tiny piece that goes on the side. So I'm just going to leave it and just wrap it around. It won't hurt anything. Hey, congrats to Kyle Larson. He was doing a bang-up job this weekend. Winning both the Xfinity and Cup race today. Well done. Well done, Hendrick Motorsports. And Kyle, he looked like a man possessed. Sure, he caught a little break there in the Xfinity race with Ty taking out William. But at the end of the day, he is up front and he's just wheeling it. Yeah, that was impressive. You know, if he's kicking it in at this time of the year, he's definitely got to be a threat. He's definitely going to be a threat for the title once again. Hey, I want to show you guys. Sent a package over to Simon, and he responded with some stuff he sent over to me, and I wanted to show you. So as that's sitting there, let me show you what he sent me. Check this out. He sent me a Daniel Suarez Coca-Cola 2022. Ricky Stenhouse. This will be fun. Painting the front blue and the back side. Maybe I'll paint black or something. That'll be interesting. He sent me this Gdovic number 26 Toyota, white one, Xfinity car. And then this J.J. Yaley, this Jacob Companies. And looking this up, this is a bright lime green car with the black. So that'll be a challenge. Looking forward to doing that one. He sent me this fantasy Michael McDowell, carparts.com donut. And then a Vargas TikTok. And this is actually stickers. So that, again, will be a very interesting car. So yeah, so thanks, Simon. Appreciate that. That's very nice of you. And you sent me a donor car too. So appreciate that. It's very nice. You guys are too nice. And then, oh, I almost forgot. He sent me this Chastain K1 Speed. So that was nice. James sent me a note and included some cars or some decals. This is what he sent me. The ever popular 2016 Chase Elliott American Red Cross that he drove at Richmond. It's always super popular. Michael Annette All-Star or Allstate Parts and Services. Number 1. And then this Napa Brakes 2018 Chase Elliott. A couple Blaney Sylvania light bulb True Wave Technology Menards cars from Talladega. And then a couple of the Cardinal Cabinetry Ryan Blaney 2021 cars. So thanks, James. It's always nice to share decals with one another, and appreciate you. I picked this car up on eBay, and Manic, you can see why. I needed some rims that would go with your number 74. So, yeah. Obviously not a Fusion. It'll be a Mustang. But I wanted those rims and picked this up, so that came in the mail the other day. Alright, let's get some decals on this Super here. Now what I said before is I like to get this particular decal in place first. And I try to snug it down as close as I can. Looks like it's going to wrap over a little bit. These decals are a little large for the roof here. Wash my hands with Dawn soap. Always got to make sure your hands are clean, guys, when you're working these cars. Want this wet, want this to fold over nice. I don't want to see how it's sticking up there. I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of sticking up right there. You don't want that. You don't want to leave that like that. You don't want that to dry like that. You want it to be wet enough so it lays flat, lays down, conforms to the body, and dries. Because if it sticks up like that and it dries, it's going to get hard and it'll crack and break right off. So you definitely want to make sure it's wet and down on the body. All right, Mr. Dave, here's your, as I'm working this, I'm going to give you my 4 NFL teams that I think are going to do well this year. A few of them are obvious. And then I'm going to give you one that I think is going to just massively underperform. Okay? So, number 1, and I don't think this is a surprise to anybody, but the Buffalo Bills are really stacked. If they can get their running game going, oh my gosh. They drafted that defensive back to play in the first round. They can defend the pass a little bit better this year. They are just going to roll teams. So I like Buffalo. I also... Well, I like a lot of teams. I think a lot of teams are going to do well. I think the Cowboys are going to have a good season. I think they're going to break out of their funk. I think, of course, Dak Prescott has to stay healthy. But I think Dallas is primed for a good year. Because I think the Commanders, the Giants, and the Eagles are all just, I don't know, they're just not that good. And I think Dallas can be a pretty good team this year. And then, of course, you got to go with the Denver Broncos. They have a good defense, and then they went out and traded for Russell Wilson. They've had some quarterback, average play from the quarterback position for a few years. I think Denver's going to have a good season. Again, like any team, you got to stay healthy. And with Jerry Jeudy there, and Cortland Sutton, and their running game, they've always had a kind of a strong focus on a running game in Denver. Their defense is solid. I think Russell Wilson can do something. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady, even though he doesn't have Gronkowski, I think Tom Brady's going to have a good season. And I think this might be his last season. But I think Tampa Bay is going to have a good season. So those are 4 teams I think are going to do well. Like I said, probably nothing that you don't already know, but those are my 4 teams. And then one team that I think is going to underperform and possibly not even make the playoffs. And I think it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. They traded away Tyreek Hill, and their starting receivers are now Juju Smith-Schuster and Valdez-Scantling. And I'm telling you, I saw Juju as a Steelers fan. He's not a number 1 receiver. And I don't think Scantling is either. And I think they're in a world of hurt at the receiver position. Sure, Travis Kelce is good. But if something happened to Travis Kelce, I think the wheels fall off of that program. Their defense has never been that good. Never been a top defense. And I don't know, I just never like their running game. So I think Kansas City might have a down year this year. And you've got Denver, right, with Russell Wilson. You've got San Diego or LA Chargers. Whoops, crap, I lifted that. San Diego Chargers or LA Chargers. I'm always going to say that. The Chargers are a good team. Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. They've got a good team. And then, of course, the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are nothing to shake a stick at either. And one of those teams is going to bomb. And I think that it could be the Kansas City Chiefs. So anyways, you mentioned you wanted my top 4 in one of my videos, so I figured I'd throw that in now, if you're listening. But what do I know about the NFL? The NFL to me is just, it's one of those things where you have to have healthy players. You got to get a break on the schedule sometimes. You know, you're playing teams when their players aren't that healthy, or, you know, maybe after just a compromising week or whatever. Sometimes you get a break there, but yeah, just so much parity in the NFL. Yeah, that's right. The Raiders got Devontae Adams. They give up Devontae Adams from the Packers. That'll be interesting. How the Packers are going to do. I wonder if they're going to go more to the running game, because they've got a massive turnover at the wide receiver position this year. Yeah, so where else can you see custom diecast making and NFL season prognosticating in the same video? And pretty soon I'm going to read verse number 4. So we're all over the place on this channel. Okay, let's get this stuff wrap around a little bit. Took our daughter back to Liberty yesterday for her sophomore year. So that was interesting. Just interesting roller coaster ride as a parent. You know, you love your kids, but at the same time you're kind of preparing them to be adults, and then when you see them making that transition, it's kind of hard. It's kind of bittersweet. You know? But she starts her classes tomorrow. Alright, let's get that 54 in place. You can see why it's nice to split these up, because you can lay this up top, lay this down at the bottom, and you just don't know sometimes how long it's going to take, or how much distance is in there. So okay. Alright, so let's get the Bush name in here. Okay. Alright, and so now, again, I separated these out for this hood here. I had, this was all kind of one decal together, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to be able to lay this in place. Got a little fuzzy there. I want to be able to lay this in place here. And then be able to put that little piece on that goes across here. Okay, so you can see I'm trying to get this red M&M off the windshield, so I'm pulling it down ever so slightly. I want to make sure I've got it somewhat equidistant here. I'm going to go this way just a little bit. Okay. So trying to get that just a little bit of the water out here. I want to look at this other piece real quick. So that's gonna go. Yeah, that'll work out well. Because I'm gonna separate that word, the word Supra out, because that'll be more down on the front here, and that will line up there. And I'll need to cut out those headlights separately, and that whole lower piece is all going to be cut out separately. But I just wanted to make sure I got this up here. Got this on here pretty close. This curved hood here. Yeah, so Nicolas, hope this is working out for you. Gonna like this when I get it all said and done. Okay, that'll be good. Alright, so now let's see about this little piece here. Looks like I'm going to overlap a little bit, but it won't be that bad. Yeah. See, what if I would have kept it together, it would have been way up here. So I had to cut it out separately from this piece, and then I can lay it in place where it really needs to go. And if it overlaps, that's fine. But it's in place, and yeah, that'll be good. I think that's what she needs to look like. So yeah, cutting out these decals can be a little bit of a planning phase. Separating them out from one another is really a it's perfectly fine, and sometimes that's the best way to do it. So okay. All right. Verse number 4. So this is kind of a long verse. This is Ephesians 4:22-24. And the topic is your mind. If you win your mind, you're going to win your day. And the battle for spiritual victory is going to occur in your mind. So let's look at what this has to say. Ephesians 4:22-24, that you put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. So Ephesians is a book written by a human author as the Apostle Paul. He's writing to the church at Ephesus. He's writing to Christians. Christians have a job to do. They have to put off and put on. So we are to put off concerning the former conversation, the former life, the former conduct, the ungodly conduct, the ungodly life that we had before we met Christ, which is called the old man. And why are we supposed to put it off? Because it's corrupt. And why is it corrupt? Because of deceitful lusts, deceitful desires. That's what a lust is. A lust is something that deceives us. Oh, this is going to be awesome. This piece of cake, whatever, in a simple term, right? This is going to be so good. Well, what's the result of that? It's deceitful. It may taste good, but then it may give you an upset stomach. Or it may cause, other problems. That's a, simple example, but at the end of the day, we have a job to do, to put off the old man, and we are to be renewed in the spirit of our minds. Yes, God does a work in us when He saves us. He gives us the Holy Spirit. But at the same point, we have a work to do as Christians. And we have to discipline ourselves. So we kind of work in tandem with God, with His Spirit, to have our lives changed. The outliving of our lives changed. That we would live now a godly life. That we would live a righteous and a holy life. And so this work of putting off and putting on is all to be done here in our minds. If we work our minds in such a way that we can have victory there, we are going to be able to then live out. Our words and our actions are going to reflect that, and we're going to be able to live out a life that pleases Him. So we put off and we put on the new man, which after God is created in righteousness and true holiness. That's one of the things that Jesus says about knowing a true disciple, is look at their fruits, look at the way they act, look at the way they talk. That will tell you over time the difference between a false and somebody that's true. And so he talks about true holiness here. All right, guys, God bless you. Thanks for paying attention in the video, and hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.